Here are my UFC 319 main card predictions. So first fight, Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. Elliott, he's 38 years old, hasn't fought in almost 2 years, and this is the type of opponent Asakura should style on. I think he'll stuff a lot more of the takedowns compared to the Pantoja fight, land his counter right hands, maybe some knees in the inside, and have Asakura by a second round KO. Next, Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Now there's a pretty significant size difference in this fight. MVP, the natural welterweight, fighting at middleweight, whereas Cannonier, he's a huge 185er. And I think that size difference can play out two ways. Either MVP, he'll be too fast on the feet, outstrike Cannonier, or Cannonier, he'll be too strong and outgrapple MVP. And I think that's what happens. I think Jared will be smart enough to grapple early. Once he gets MVP down, I do think he'll control him. So I got Cannonier by decision. Next, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Now, Neal, he's more of an inside pocket boxer, and Prates more of an outside rangy striker. And I do think Neal will land a couple clean shots as Prates gets into range. But for the most part, I think Carlos stays on the outside, lands his left hand, lands a couple kicks, and I got Prates by a second round TKO. On to the co-main event, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Now, Pico, he has quite a bit of hype coming from Bellator. Explosive boxing, solid freestyle wrestling. But I just think Murphy's the more complete fighter here. He'll use his kicks, outpoint Pico over the course of the fight, and I have Lerone Murphy by decision. And in the main event, it's Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev for the middleweight title. Now, Khamzat, we know his game plan is going to be put the pressure early, try to get the early finish. Whereas GDP, he'll be looking to survive the early onslaught, and then stuff the later takedowns and make it a war on the feet. That being said, I see Khamzat getting this one done early. As strong as du Plessis is, I think Khamzat is the best grappler in the UFC right now. And once he gets that early takedown, either he's going to take Dricus's back or mount him. And if he mounts him, I think he gets a ground pound finish. If he takes his back, I think he'll find a way under Dricus's neck. So my prediction is Khamzat Chimaev by a first round submission.